Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Rooted Asian American Youth Ministry Roundtable. We're going to be recording episodes 27 and then subsequently, obviously, 28. I'll be your host today, Justin. I am from Houston. And with me, I got two amazing colleagues, friends, cohort buddies forever and ever and ever. Got Huey with me and Dorothy. Why don't you guys say hello and introduce yourself to our listeners? Dorothy, I'll let you go first.
Sure. Ni howdy, everyone. I am Dorothy, the youth director at the Chinese Bible Church of Maryland in the DC, Maryland, Virginia region. And it's a pleasure to be with you all. I guess a fun fact about myself, I guess, even if you didn't ask, Justin, I drive in silence.
You drive in silence?
Yeah, because I feel like there's too much noise around me. Like, my car is the only time I can just hear nothing other than before I go to sleep.
What's an average commute for you then? Like,
it depends on where I need to go. If I'm going into Virginia, it might be about half hour to an hour. But if I'm going to church, about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and if I'm going to the airport, well.
All right. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Huey, what about you? Do you drive in silence also, or is that just the Dorothy thing?
No, I do not. No, that's a fun fact about me is that I don't drive in silence. I cannot. I need some noise.
Nice.
He was listening to
yeah,
you about
the family. Good to be here with you. Maybe not. I can neither confirm nor deny that's true. But yeah, I'm Huey, and I'm on staff at Christ Central Presbyterian Church in Centerville, Virginia, which is about 25 minutes west of Washington, D.C. Yep.
Yeah. The DMV area, huh?
We're representing today.
Yeah,
Did
Department
not
of
know
Motor
that.
Vehicles.
Did not know that till last year, guys. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about, for episode 27, organizing leadership teams in youth ministry. We're going to talk all about it, whether you should have it, you should just not have it, when to start it, horror stories, all of that type of stuff. But before we get there, I got just a quick intro, one that you guys did not prepare for.
Oh.
Who are your favorite like groups growing up, like in TV, movies? Did you have a favorite like band growing? I know this is a large one, but do you have a favorite like group of people that you're like, I want to be part of that group?
Huh, interesting.
Avengers, Friends, whatever. What are you? Huey, I started with you first.
I think I was always in awe of this is I don't know if you want to edit this out or not, but the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah.
That shows my age, but also that's where I grew up. So, and Staten Island is so small. Just so to have like have a group like Wu-Tang Clan come out of Staten Island, and you could actually go into some of the neighborhoods that they grew up in. It's pretty amazing. I remember seeing one of them like in the mall. You know, Staten Island has one mall, and you see them just walking around the mall. It's pretty insane. So I follow them pretty closely.
Hey, if you're a member of the Wu-Tang Clan, drop a comment in our discussion board.
Yeah,
all right, Dorothy, what about you?
I would say the group that I want to be part of was like the friendship trio in Harry Potter with Harry, Hermione, and Ron, because I was like, dang, their friendship is so strong. And of course, like every year, somehow they manage to have to fight off death and evil, which sometimes it kind of reminds me of like what Christian community could be if, witchcraft wasn't involved. But the premise or the idea being like the loyalty, the sacrifice, the camaraderie, sometimes the hilarity of being friends, but also doing life together, very literally, sometimes figuratively, but with the common goal in mind, right? And I don't know, I just always was fascinated by the bonds that are formed and forged through having that common goal and growing up together and growing old together. I love that concept.
Oh, we get end the podcast there. That was a good word. I think for me, growing up, I mean, Saved by the Bell crew seemed like it was really fun.
Fun, yeah.
And for whatever reason, my algorithm is giving me like old clips. And so, yeah, I
For
was just
some
like, huh,
reason, yeah.
yeah, for some reason. A lot of you, we do realize a lot of you listeners have not been born, have no clue what we're talking about. So
That's why
you
I
can look
chose
up.
a more relevant
I
reference.
mean, that's not young either right now.
Yeah, you're
So
right. Harry
It's
Potter came
not,
out
if
later
you
yeah.
in
don't
life.
know what those are, go. You can Google Harry Potter, Wu-Tang Clan, and Zach Morris. All right. Well, with
Uh,
that in mind, talking about friendships, teams, in when you guys inherited youth ministry, when you jumped in,
Mm.
was the student leadership, this is like specifically the youth ministry, was that already developed? Did they have a lot of stuff, or were you tasked to start a kind of a youth organization leadership team? And we're talking about just for the students at that moment. So Huey,
mm.
what was your situation going in? Was it brand new? Did you have to build, or is it something you already inherited?
Yeah, I think it's something that I inherited. Um, the the previous youth pastor, he was big on structure. He was big on systems, and he was big on students taking ownership of their youth ministry. So he had a pretty good system laid out, and students were involved already in it. So yeah, it was sort of easy coming in, and I feel like there is already especially maybe within Asian American churches. I don't know if this is true now, but at least in the past, I think theoretically, I think we always believed in team ministry, or we always believed um, just youth students taking ownership of their youth students. So I feel like the desire has always been there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you, was it, you said it was easy. Did you enjoy that? I'm like, I don't know what kind of leader you are. When you come into something new, are you there to kind of evaluate, to blow it up, to just like keep it going? Like,
Uh-huh.
where are y'all to? And like, when you first jump into something, do you,
Yeah. My natural tendency is to take over,
okay.
and just do my own thing, right? But when I came into this youth ministry, I was in my early 30s, and um by the grace of God, I was a little bit more mature. So I've learned to be more patient
Mm.
and observe and learn. And I think that's a good posture to have when you come on board. And so I've kind of thought that way. And yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so before we get to Dorothy, Huey, were there a lot of teams already established for the student ministry when you jumped on?
Not a lot. I remember they had a welcoming team, and they had a worship team.
Okay.
Um, but that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know where you're called? Shortly after his conversion, Adoniram Judson discerned his call to international missions alongside several of his classmates at seminary. At Judson College, we want you too to discern your calling and prepare for a lifetime of disciple making in a vibrant Christian community. At Judson College, it is our mission to equip students to give their lives for the cause of Christ in the church, among the nations, and in every aspect of society. Through the courses, relationships, and culture you experience here at Judson, you will be well equipped to serve Jesus wherever he calls you, in whatever context or career. To learn more about our variety of degrees, world-class faculty, and enduring mission to equip students as ambassadors for Christ, visit judsoncollege.edu.
Dorothy, what about you? What was the initiation into the student ministry like? What did you have to build from scratch? Did they have like 1,000 teams, or what was it?
So in this current season of ministry and in my existing post, what happened is I inherited the whole system. And I'm very grateful for that because it meant I did not have to build things up from scratch. Although a year or two after I started, it was like, oh, COVID. So it wasn't
Oh,
exactly the most welcome learning curve that anyone really expected or wanted. But I think that I'm very appreciative of my predecessor, who is also now a congregational pastor in my church. He set up a lot of important structures and systems and roles that are crucial even to its current way of coming and going even now. And I feel for him, but I also will never know the degree of how much struggle he may have gone through in those phases when he came on staff like 10 years ago. Because he inherited a mess, is what it is.
Mm,
So I respect the grit and the resilience that he had to put forth, and just imagining how much dependency he really had on the Lord and the leaders who were sparse at the time. But um, I think I've just been blessed to inherit a system and to have the privilege, I could even say, to refine that over the last few years as I've been youth director,
Yeah.
previously his assistant. Although in my most immediate prior context, like 7 to 10 years ago, I was entrusted with managing a grassroots like middle school worship service, and that was tough. I was also less mature at the time, and I think I was so heavily focused on the tasks, I was far less attentive to taking care of the students themselves, who in the theory, like, they were the ones, middle school students are the ones running the service, and I was speaking and like training up students to lead worship. But I think at the end of the day, it's hard to have students in positions of leadership or capacity if they're not actually saved. And I think,
mm,
again, that's one of the struggles of trying to be so grassroots is we're focusing on let's encourage students to serve, but they don't really know if they follow Jesus or not. They just come to
mm,
church. So I'll stop right there. But
No, so
I agree with
we
both
we
sides.
have to we got to talk about that, right?
Oh,
Because I
oh,
think that
okay.
well, because that's
Yeah, yeah.
that's what everyone is thinking through, right?
Yes.
And I think you're coming from a student's perspective, a parent's perspective,
Yeah.
a youth leader's perspective, and then the youth pastor's perspective, and then on top of that, the entire church's leadership org system, right? Because everyone
Mhm.
has an opinion, so you're dealing with at least 5 to 10 opinion
Oh, yeah.
understandings. And so, how do we go about that, right? Like, how do we offer experience, but then at some point go, hold on a second, is there a gatekeeping element to positions of teaching, leadership, worship? How did you guys think through that? Let's start with the most talked about one first, worship team.
mm.
Did you guys allow anyone to jump on, or were there certain requirements? Uh, who wants to take it?
Man, that's a hard one.
Huey, you got pointed out. Let's go. Dorothy set you up. Let's go.
Okay, so on one level, I do think there is, I think it's good to have some consistency, not just within how youth ministry kind of runs, but across the church,
Mhm.
right? So for youth praise teams, as much as you can, I think it's good to align youth praise teams to kind of the other praise teams that might be in the church. So, for example, in my context, we have worship team that's for kind of our adult congregation,
Okay.
and they have certain expectations and boundaries and guidelines. So, for our worship team, um, you have to be a member, or you have to, or at least you have to be in process to serve on the worship team, which also means to become a member, you have to publicly profess your faith in Christ. So I think it's good and helpful to have that kind of guideline within youth praise teams. It's just that so you feel like youth ministry is not siloed,
Mhm.
right?
Mm.
It's not really the case that youth ministry can do whatever they want. I think it's
Right.
always good to kind of connect the youth ministry to the wider church. So we try to kind of align that, and yet at the very same time, our youth ministry, there is, I don't know if this is the right word or the phrase, but there needs to be sort of a bit more grace, or just kind of a casting a bit of a wider net,
Mhm.
so for example, in our youth students, um, they could, yeah, I think what we allow now is anyone can join the team to serve, but in terms of being upfront and leading,
Mhm.
our desire and our expectation is that you are in process of either being confirmed or being baptized or at least taking the confirmation class. That's just kind of our structure, right? So
Right.
we kind of, every student is on a journey, and we want to be sensitive and open to that. So we want to kind of journey with them in that, but there is this kind of clear expectation that we set, like we do want you to be thinking about your faith as you're kind of serving,
Right.
Mhm.
so that's one aspect of kind of how we've organized ourselves.
No, that's good. I mean, because I think we've seen parents come up to us and, hey, my student's talented, or they want community service hours, or they want something. Can you put them on stage? That's
Mhm.
a hard lifetime decision. You
Yeah,
don't want to quench that fire, but then at the same
absolutely.
time, you're going, hey, we're a church. There has to be ministry involved.
Yeah.
Dorothy, how have you thought through that? Because I know you work a lot with like the worship ministry.
Yeah, it's been a whole combination of things, and I think Huey has really important points to offer in that if we are approaching students or having students or parents approach us about having their teens or themselves a part of worship ministry, we do want assurance of salvation because if they're going to be in a position of visibility,
Mm.
then they will inevitably also undergo more scrutiny. And I think that it can feel stifling to some that there may be any barriers to entry, meaning like, oh, you actually have to be a regular attender or attempting to become a member or even profess faith because they just want to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's something where we do have to diplomatically but still truthfully communicate to the individual or to the parent is like I appreciate your enthusiasm, but more importantly than exercising a skill or gift or ability is why do you want to use it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes that gets lost in the mix, right? It's like, I just want to do the thing so I can build it up, or maybe I need more affirmation, whatever it could be to fill your bucket. But at the end of the day, and I've actually had to talk to some student leaders about this amidst, some failure or misunderstandings. I've said, I care more about your character more than your competency right now because
Mm.
you can have the rest of your life to develop a skill. But while you're under my care, I want to make sure that you're actually following Jesus, not just the way of being more recognized or
Right.
just fulfilling a task. And sometimes we won't have worship. Sometimes we won't let students even serve with the adult worship team, which is something that we've been trying to do more in the intention of intergenerational ministry
Yeah.
and cross-congregational serving. Um, but it's like if you're coming from a place of unhealth or from self-serving motivations, it's like I think that's a point of reflection first. And then I even have them fill out a form like, why do you want to join worship team? It's like to serve God. What does it mean to serve God? Like, okay, let's take a little more time and we'll try to flesh this out together. Or maybe that means I need to teach more on what does it look like to
Yeah.
serve God. So
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah,
good.
and yeah, and I'll just say this real quick, Justin, is I think it's really good and helpful if we are to have these kinds of expectations and even guidelines and some lines that are kind of drawn, um, that we also think through other ways that students can serve if they
Mhm.
are still working out their faith and thinking things through. I think there needs to be other places where they are welcome to serve as they're journeying this thing called faith, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
And it's I think it'll be helpful for us to kind of really leverage and platform these other ways to serve the church and serve the youth ministry, because as Dorothy was saying, like the praise team, that gets so much attention
Mhm.
because you're up
Mhm.
front,
Mhm.
and sometimes you feel like that is like the glory of serving is like it's right there,
Varsity
right?
team.
That's the varsity, right? But that's not true. I think so. It's our responsibility to create meaningful ways that other students can engage, if there are these expectations and guidelines and boundaries to serving on
Mhm.
praise team.
I mean,
And
that's
those
good.
things need to be elevated too,
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, and again, if you're a younger youth minister or even I would say a youth listening to this, I think that is going to be the hard part.
Mhm.
You know, the
Yeah.
front facing gifts are the ones that get the attention. And I think, like Dorothy said, it comes with responsibilities as well, though.
Yeah.
More visibility, you get more scrutiny, and that's just part of it. But then I think in First Corinthians, you look in Ephesians, there's multiple parts of the body, and they're just as valuable,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's seen, unseen parts, and I think they all have to work together.
Hey, friends, if you've been walking with us here on this Rooted podcast, you already know our heart. Bible saturated, gospel centered ministry rooted in deep relationships. So, we want to make sure you know about something that's at the very core of what we do, the Rooted Conference. Every fall, we gather youth, children, and family ministry leaders from around the country for a time of encouragement, equipping, and connection. It's just the gospel, great teaching, and real conversations with people who get what it's like to be in the trenches of next gen ministry. This year, we're diving into the church in the book of Acts, and we'll explore how the early church speaks to the pressures facing today's teenagers and families, especially the weight of radical individualism. We'll be in Chicago October 23rd through 25th, and we would love to see you there. So, whether you're a longtime part of the Rooted family or just starting the journey, come join us. Let's learn together and walk forward in hope for the next generation. Register today at rootedministry.com.
Okay, if I can pivot there then, because I want to go two ways, but on the horizontal plane in terms of youth leadership teams, like Huey, you said this, where are the other elements that you guys have either implemented in terms of where students can be part of that team, or was there a team that you wanted to create, you just never got a chance to go into yet? Dorothy, I'll start with you first.
A team that I never got the chance to create. So forgive me if I'm kind of rubbing this in anyone's faces, but I think I actually have a dream team because
Like the basketball team?
yeah, all stars. No, the biggest thing I look for in any student leader, aside from professing faith in Christ, is like there's a sense of faithfulness that isn't just rooted in showing up for their friends, but it's wanting to be present because they've first experienced God's grace, and that's what propels them and motivates them to want to do the same, right? I think faithfulness, maybe particularly because we're in a Chinese context, is definitely modeled but not necessarily talked about, or sometimes it's misinterpreted as like doing the same thing over and over again until you just get tired and then you just dump it on someone else. But no, I mean, in this case, faithfulness as the steadfastness, the sense of loyalty, of presence and consistency. And these kids, my current batch of student leaders, like kids, if you're listening to this, don't let it get to your heads. They show up, but also because their parents bring them. And I think that generally they come from backgrounds where either their parents have done what they can to model what faithfulness looks like, or that they may sometimes see from a broken home standpoint that they see what unfaithfulness looks like and they don't want any part of that, right? So I'm just very, very grateful for those who are serving under me and serving alongside me, because I really could not have asked for a better team of brothers and sisters who are committed to their church as much as to this ministry. So I think the Lord has been overwhelmingly redeeming from my previous context where I could barely get anyone to help me out. But I think here it's been healing for me, actually. I think that there's a very, very deep sense of gratitude that I hold, because, and not just because I'm transitioning out of my role by the end of the year, but I think that the vision and the desire to serve God faithfully has been caught as much as it has been taught.
Sure.
And that's what I want, my team to continue with, is like, be faithful to Jesus, not to me. Be loyal to the cross and to the mission of the church, not to a particular leader by any means. So that doesn't really answer your question, Justin, but I think that themes that I've always wanted, because I know that in adult ministry, and I'll, kind of wrap it up with this, like in adult ministry, you look for the people that you need. But my philosophy is I develop the people that I want.
Yeah.
Because ministry is about relationship. Relationship is discipleship and mentoring and, whatever adjacent terms and methods that you could put forth. But more importantly, even if it seems demeaning to handhold someone, like they want to be held, they want to be led. And I think that's something you cannot teach is humility. So I'm here for it. And I think the Lord has presented people who want to learn under me, which I might not have identified them. And if they want to learn, then I'm willing to teach.
Yeah, no, that's so good, and I think that that becomes the backbone of any strong leadership team, right? Character, competency. I mean, I think
Mhm.
you're gonna do that. Huey, I'm gonna throw it back to you. What are some teams that you seen work well? What are some things that, or even a team that you wish you could have created that you just haven't got time to?
Mhm. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have a team that I, thought about and dreamt about that I never got to, but I think I've always approached teams as it has to be functional, meaning it has to actually be the boots on the ground and it has to impact the ministry in a very, very practical way. I've just kind of always thought about teams in that way. It needs to be practical, it needs to be accessible, it needs to be functional, it needs to actually do something to bring life and cultivate culture in our youth ministry. So, I've always believed in welcoming because you just never know who's going to walk through those doors,
Or
whether
you
they're
mean
new.
like a welcome team?
Yeah,
Okay.
and that our student run, and even vision casted. I feel like our students are the best missionaries to other students, right, on Sunday mornings. I feel like social media team is important, not to kind of make a name for ourselves, but to testify to what God is doing in our midst. So I've always believed in that, right? So just two out of the couple of other things I could think about, but yeah.
No, that's good. I mean, I I wonder how we can do this more, right? Like as we think through student ministry, I think part of it is getting the freedom to play around with like, hey, every year, and I think this is what we keep challenging student pastors and leaders. Every year you get a chance to kind of almost keep consistency, but also like think and contextualize where the students are going next year. Right. What
Mhm.
happens with this batch of students? What happens with this thing? What's a new team that we can think of? And maybe this is where, Dorothy, your dream team thing can happen as you guys plan in the summer for the fall, right? Like, let's just have the students get together. And I wonder what would happen if we would let them kind of lead out in vision casting a little bit too.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
they would know what they would need, and they would also know what their non-Christian friends or Christian friends would need. And I wonder, and I think this is why the church is so beautiful, because you have different people with different strengths and weaknesses coming to the table and presenting not just their need for Christ, but also where they think they can bring the church and the youth group. Okay.
And
I
I
know.
wait.
Yeah, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
No, no.
No, just real quickly. I do think it's important for youth, pastors, leaders, directors to keep listening to the students
Mhm.
be, because
Wait, hold on. Say that again. Say that one more time. One more time for the people in the back.
Right, my internet connection was off.
Because
Can you say that again,
that's
Huey?
good. Yeah. I think some
no,
people didn't hear that.
just in case you come in thinking, you are the show and you are the man or the woman that's going to change everything. I really do think it's very, very important that you keep listening to your students
Mm.
because you're giving them an opportunity and you're challenging them to think critically about their generation,
Mhm.
because I don't what I've experienced is that students are just okay with just repeating the same things over and over again, and that's kind of what Dorothy was saying, right? They're always living in the past, and they sometimes they say, when I was in sixth grade we did this and that was so amazing and we just want to do that over again. But when we kind of invite students to speak into how our youth ministry is going to go, you're giving them an opportunity to just think critically and you're challenging them. What was in the past, God might be actually doing something new. And what does it look like for us to be attentive to that and listen to that? And not that everything has to be different, but just for just giving them a chance, an opportunity to challenge themselves to say, what is God doing in 2025 that he might not have done in 2020?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, that was so good. I appreciate you guys, and honestly, your faithfulness to see multiple generations come in and out. And I think that allows us to kind of go, hey, this is what the church can be, this is where we want it to go. And so if you're a student minister listening out there, it's going to take a bit. These are muscles that, you can't shortcut this. You're just going to build. But I think the best thing is involve your students into figuring out what the needs are. And then
Mhm.
as you are implementing, give them resources so that they can flourish and that they can do this. And
Absolutely.
when they fail, be there to let them know, hey, we're going to fail together. This is a
Mhm.
safe space to fail as well. And so,
Yeah.
man, we're praying for you guys who are listening. We want to hear your stories. And so again, thank you guys for listening today at the Rooted Asian American Youth Ministry Roundtable. We want to know how you guys have led students, what unique things you guys are doing. So please drop us a comment and a message in our thing. And so in the meantime, please continue to be faithful to the gospel, but also allow your students to be the salt and the light in their spheres of influence. And pastors, parents, give them the resources to thrive, right? And so pray for them, ask the Spirit to lead and to embolden their witness. And so if you enjoyed today, if you continue to follow us, please, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You can find us also on Instagram at The Rooted Ministry. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.